Hey guys, Tony here from Barlow Roots, just in my tomato high tunnel here at the garden, and wanted to do a quick video on some of the tricks we've learned for trellising our tomatoes. In the high tunnel here we've got a couple different systems going, both of which I think are working pretty well. So I'll walk you through some of the tricks, specifically for the Florida weave. That's the one we've been doing since the very beginning. So I figured a few things out with that, and then I'll also show you some of our other systems that we're working on as well. Let me spin you around. So this is our high tunnel. I'll just give you kind of a broad overview. You can probably hear we've got the fans running, and that helps push some of the hot air out of here when it gets really warm. But most of the high tunnel is we've got trellised on overhead. So we've got a line above the top, and then we've run one string down to each plant. We trim each plant down to one stem. We use a combination of the tomato clips and wrapping the lines, just kind of depends on the situation. One thing we did find is we strung the strings all the way across, and then we found we had quite a bit of sagging with the lines. So we ended up putting some 2x2 posts that we had in the scrap pile, and you can see there's a good example there. They just kind of prop up the lines so that we don't have quite as much sagging with that. So really loving that system. So far it's working really well. A lot of pluses with that system. You can see we've got a ton of flowers. Heirlooms, cherry tomatoes, and San Marzanos we're doing in that way. This though is our Florida weave, and we did this, the high tunnel is new this year, and we've done Florida weave over the past several years outside. So this is our first time doing it inside. This side of the high tunnel is a little bit lower, so we have peppers on the far side bed, and then in this bed we did the Florida weave with some determinate tomatoes, and the tomatoes are really flourishing. But one of the things I figured out, I'm going to spin you around again, mosquitoes are coming out, is, I don't know if you can see that, but this backpack. And so this is just one of those cheap string backpacks, and I've got one of those big rolls of twine in the backpack, and then I just run the twine out of the top of the backpack into my hand, and it's super slick as far as managing the twine. I tried a number of different other ways, and this just, the top of the bag just super manages the line so it doesn't all come out in big chunks, and I have absolutely loved that. So that's the first trick. The other is how we do our poles. So we've got a metal pole, and then we do 3 of the wooden poles, and then another metal pole, 2 wooden poles. You can see for the most part the system is metal, 2 wood, metal, 2 wood, metal, and that really helps with stability of the line. When we were just doing the wood, we were having a little bit of trouble with it not being stable enough. And then just for those of you who don't know, Florida weave is you use your twine and you go down and you wrap the twine on one side, and I've got 2 plants between each post. So you wrap the line around one side of the plant one way down, as you can see here, and then on the way back you wrap it on the other side, and so that pinches the plant, and you can see how relatively clean our rows are, and that's because as I go I'm picking up the leaders that are coming out and pulling them into that twine and kind of sucking it all into the middle. We do some pruning at the base of the plants as well to help a little bit with airflow, but not nearly as much as we do on our trellis tomatoes. But as these guys grow a little bit more, we may do some more of that. So since this is the first day I've done it, I just finished. They look a little ugly, but you give them a couple of days and they adjust to the twine, and they look really great. And as you can see, they're flourishing. We've got a ton of green, lots of tomatoes on there, lots of flowers as well. The other trick I found are these gloves. If you've ever pruned tomatoes, you know your hands turn just nasty green and black, and that's not cool. So the one downside of the Florida weave, I have a few examples here, is when you have short plants, you kind of run into trouble. Because especially if you have, like right here, I've got a short plant here and a tall plant here. Ideally, we wouldn't have that, but it just makes the weave challenging because you can't go inside one and outside the other. So as this plant here grows, I will just train it between the lines and make that work. But the nice thing about this other system here is you can see I've got a tall plant there that's over 6 feet tall, and then this guy is still knee height. And because they're all on their own string, you have no problem with the varying heights. So we've really enjoyed learning about that as we've done the system this year. So yeah, overall it's going really well. Again, it's 4th of July weekend, and I think our tomatoes are looking really good. We have some cherries that are ripening already, but should be a really good year here at the farm. So just wanted to share those tricks on trellising. Thanks so much for watching this video, and we'll see you guys on the next video.